In this video, we're going to go back to school and we're going to cover some of the basic terminology of email. Some of this may be very familiar to you, some of it will be new. Let's get started and talk about the most basic element of email, and that's the list. Whenever you hear email marketers talk, they're going to be referring to the list, and simply, the list is the list of email addresses that you have. This list can be broken up in many ways, but ultimately, the list is your customers, your prospects, anyone who has said they want to receive an email from you. But ultimately, the list is the group of people you are going to email. Now, you can grow your list by collecting email addresses. The majority of companies collect the email address from a transaction on the website. They can come from many other methods, but just gathering those names from your website from people that say they want to hear more from you or they want to receive information is the primary way of building that. Now, the email server is very much like the post office of email. It routes your email from your computer to the intended destination. And so it's essentially the post office with the mailman taking your email, routing it through the server to go to the person that you are sending that email. And so it can be your business or internal server that you have inside your company. It can be a third-party service, such as a GoDaddy or a Rackspace. Or you can be using a third-party email service, such as Constant Contact, MailChimp, some of those that will take care of your email marketing list and will be that third-party go-between for sending out a mass amount of email to different people. And that third party handles all of the legalities and the sending options for that. So an ESP is an email service provider. They are the ones that can handle and maintain your list, as well as enable you to build an email through their service and send it to those people. And the email service provider will enable better management of your list. Now, one of the methodologies of sending email that is called a batch and blast is taking the same email message and sending it to everybody on the list. Typically, this is done with a newsletter or a company update. And what it does is it assumes that everyone is interested in this message. So that's why we call it the batch and blast. We're taking all the names that we have and we're sending them the exact same email. Now, sometimes for best practices, we tend to back off of this approach because we've found that targeted emails tend to work better. But batch and blast is just sort of an offhanded way of saying we're sending the same newsletter or the same communication to everybody we have on that list. Now, how you build your list is very important. How people have let you know that they want to receive an email message is critical. And so an opt-in is when someone allows you and gives you permission to send them an email. An opt-in is one of those very critical factors that helps establish your company as following best practices in email marketing. An opt-out is where you allow people to say, I don't want to receive email from you. And so it requires action on the part of the recipient to say, I no longer want to receive email from you. And a lot of laws require opt-outs to be part of mass mailings so that a recipient can opt out of future mailings at any time. An opt-out can also be called an unsubscribe, where they can go in and say, I no longer want to receive email messages from you as a company, or I just want to unsubscribe from this list. And so giving people the ability to manage their own email contact settings is something that allows you to comply to spam laws, but also gives your customer additional ability to manage their contact preferences. Now, I've mentioned the word spam numerous times, but chances are you know what that is. Spam is anything that you receive that's unsolicited, or unsubscribed. If you've never subscribed to receive email from a specific vendor or a person or an organization, and it shows up in your email box anyway, that's considered spam. There are incredibly powerful spam filters on email servers everywhere. And so you need to make sure that you are abiding by best practices and spam laws in order for your email not to be considered spam. In talking about spam, what differentiates different types of messages is the understanding of what makes a transactional email. If someone is purchasing from you, if they've requested information, if they're looking for a download, that is a transaction. They have received value for giving you their email address. And that determines moving forward if they are receiving spam or if they have opted in to receive email messages from you. Now, a blacklist is something that you do not want your company to be on. A blacklist is set aside by email servers as a gateway to preventing people who have repeatedly abused email by sending spam, by sending unsolicited email to other people. And so the blacklist limits the ability of those organizations or those mail sources to send unsolicited email. The open rate is how many people opened your email to view it. The first measurement that people typically look at when it comes to email marketing is the open rate. And it's also the first trap that they can fall into. They tend to view open rates as the primary indicator of success of an email marketing campaign. But unfortunately, open rate doesn't tell the full story. And it's more of a fuzzy number because not all email clients report the open rate the same. It's very undependable. And so really, just use the open rate as a guide rather than focusing on it as a measure of success. A click-through is much more of a hard measurement of how people interacted with your email. So whereas we can look at the number of opens and get an idea of how many people looked, the click tells us how many people took an action to click through the email to the landing page that we have set up for that destination. And so it's much more of a hard number to look at success of an email campaign. Now, the email client is whatever your target recipient uses to view email. It could be Outlook, it could be MacMail. It's whatever they use in order to open the email. That's the email client. Now, there's also what's called free mail, and that's any free email service such as Gmail or Yahoo Mail or Hotmail. They're web-based email accounts which act a little bit differently than corporate email accounts or other types of email accounts. And so that's going to come in when we look at deliverability and how your message appears to the recipient.